He's excused. Alex?
Here.
Misso?
Here.
Malowitz?
Here.
Ray Joyce? Lukakis? Bergdorf? Bergdorf?
Here.
Grimm?
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We're going to start tonight with our previous minutes. All right, previous minutes, I need a motion for that. Mr. Hackett got second from Mr. Ms. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
We're going to move to item 17, amending the 2025 District Attorney's Office budget for administrative adjustments.
No microphone. Oh, it's right there? Oh, that's.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good evening, everyone.
Great presentation.
Thank you very much. We are on tonight. Thank you. We are on tonight requesting a budget amendment. Previous budget had been passed, but we're looking to move some money around and kind of normalize what's been an abnormal process, and we submit it for the committee's consideration tonight. As we've done is, the previous budget basically had lines in which they were able to pay district attorneys and support staff, and then there was a separate fund coming down from state grants. And as we discovered, that state grant money was allocated in a way that was essentially bonuses. And over the years, those bonuses were wildly different from employee to employee, from year to year. And so what we did is we built those bonuses into a new salary structure. So effectively, we got rid of all the bonuses going to ADAs, and instead, we just set down from the deputy, Mr. Maney, all the way down to DA1. So we had deputy, assistant deputy, and then bureau chiefs, and then DA 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We normalized those lines. It looks like we gave everybody a raise, but what we did is just build in that state grant money into every line. And we're just asking now to be able to do it. All right?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
So I have any questions from our members? Mr. Grimm?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is your budget higher this year than last year?
Well,
No.
from this or from?
Well, you've revised the budget, so I'm guessing, have you
This
revised it
is-
upward or?
This is moving money around within the 2025 grant. So this is not changing our budget. It's
No.
the total amount.
Now, you have a director of communication position, I think it's 80,000.
Yeah.
Is that being filled or has been filled?
It's filled.
Because you also, our CAB board approved a $45,000 communication services, while you also have an $80,000 director of communication. As it turns out, that contract was your campaign manager.
Yes.
So I have some issues with that, and I want to give you a chance to explain why you have an $80,000 director of communications,
Sure.
and also a contract where only one legislator got to vote on that. You have the floor.
Okay. Well, first, and let me be abundantly clear. In this budget amendment, I'm also asking for a raise for my director of communications. So I don't want to hide that,
I
right?
appreciate you saying that.
It's going up.
Yeah.
So look, crime is down in Albany County, especially over the past couple of months, right? So one of the biggest problems we have though right now in Albany County is the perception that somehow crime is out of control. So if my office can better communicate the fact that crime is down, we're taking bad guys off the streets, we're making the streets safer day by day, I will do everything in my power to make sure that that is communicated to the citizens of Albany County so they start to understand that the efforts of my office are making everybody safer, okay? Now, yes, we do have an internal comms guy. His name's Ben Delamater. Ben is wonderfully experienced. He writes press releases every day. He helps us communicate the message of the office. However, we also ask for and receive, and this is not unusual. The previous administration had it. We didn't ask for any additional money. And again, just so it's abundantly clear, the previous administration utilized a guy named Joe Bonilla, and Joe was a communications strategy specialist. Joe Bonilla also happened to be the campaign manager of the previous administration. Now, it's Smallbody, so we only have a couple of people who do these kinds of things, and yes, when we solicited bids for the outside communications company, we got a bunch of different bids. And the person we happened to hire, whose contract came in and Pat did the scoring, the person who happened to come in with the best contract and the best score also happened to, and I wasn't involved in the scoring, it happened to be the person who was my previous campaign manager. Now, she is also helping, not just with outside communication services, with social media, but she's also helping with lobbying, with me getting my message in front of the legislature, which clearly worked because I was the main upstate proponent of discovery reform amendments, which worked, and we got it done, we got it in the budget, and everybody should have seen that the governor was in my office yesterday, every day feels like a week, 2 days ago, thanking the men and women of my office to be able to get her agenda passed. So, we are paying someone at a rate that is in line with previous year's rates. We didn't ask for an increase of what previous administrations did, but that person is helping me. That outside communications firm is helping our office with communication, with lobbying, and with strategy to make sure that we are effective in getting our message out there. So,
Well,
that's my answer.
I think you have the prerogative to have your budget.
Did you answer this question?
Yeah, I've got another question.
You have another?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have the prerogative to manage your budget the way you wish.
Thank you.
But, we're not voting tonight on the CAB award. That's an issue with CAB, that only one legislature gets to vote. But I don't believe it was appropriate for you to hire a campaign manager, and your predecessor did it, wasn't appropriate for him either.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
That's not a question. Chairlady?
Yeah,
By the way, I'm allowed to comment along with questions. I'm a member of this
But
committee.
you know what, there's other people.
I understand that, but let's be clear.
Yeah, but let's be clear, there are other people. You said you had another question.
I did,
Okay. All right, Shirley.
so in the spirit of being clear, I just wanted to provide some clarity about what Mr. Grimm is referencing. The charter provides for a contract administration board, of which the chair is the designated member, along with the clerk, along with the county executive. It is a very open process, very transparent. We welcome you to submit questions. We're going to unveil a new process, given the changes to the CAB limits, for folks to make sure that they ask me questions. I do recall that provision. I did ask questions. I didn't get one question from any of my colleagues. I would have happily asked that question. The controller is here. She regularly gives me questions to ask, and it's a good process. It is a review mechanism that is prescribed by the charter, so it's not some flim-flam kind of setup. It is an efficiency that we use for designated threshold items that are under a certain level. And it's a comprehensive review. So I just wanted to be clear about what the CAB actually is.
I have a quick question, and I apologize if I missed this. You said it's grant funded, so is the grant funding is not necessarily guaranteed? Is this reviewed on an annual basis then, or this funding is?
So the grant money coming in from this, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
The grant money coming in from the state, like aid to prosecution grants, discovery grants, I guess there's no formal, this is gonna go on until, the sun burns out, but everything I've ever, come to understand dealing with the previous administration, the second floor, the state, NIPD, which is the New York State Prosecutors Training Institute, and DASNY, which is the DA's Association, all my colleagues, is that this is effectively permanent funding. And it was brought about, I'm sorry, this is a long answer to a short question. The DA's office, the DAs of the state got funding because the public defender's offices were so underfunded throughout the years that they got a bunch of money, and then, so the DAs got thrown as basically the same, not exactly the same, but funding to balance out the needs, especially with all the reforms from 2019. So, as best as we can tell, it's permanent.
Perfect, thank you, Mr. Rollins.
Thank you. Listen, I go far as back when Saul was a DA, when David became a DA. We gave David more flexibility and leeway in his budget because he was new and he wanted to change and make the office the way he wanted to run. So we were very flexible with it. I think this is fine. I have no issues with it. It's budget neutral. I mean, that's probably the first thing everybody asks every time, is it budget neutral? So I mean, we gotta give the district attorney the tools to do his job. And obviously the results are there, and I hope that they continue to get better.
Mr. Jamal would say thank you, and what I want to do is make a complete transparency when it comes to this budget. I'm not asking for, you know, numbers here and then I have the slush fund that I can pay out bonuses to people that you guys don't know about and can't double check. I'm putting all the numbers on paper and handing it to you and saying, is this okay? Because, yeah, I appreciate flexibility, but I also want to make sure, just to say, you know, answer Mr. Grimm's questions as best I could in an open and honest, transparent manner.
Well, I still remember all the DAs were part-time and working outside. And we got rid of all
Sure.
that, so.
Yeah.
It came a long way.
Ms. Berger.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Lee, I absolutely respect your right to restructure your office. I was around when Mike Cadillac got elected county executive, and he was given every courtesy to restructure the office of county executive, courtesy of Frank Lewis. And I believe that every elected official coming in has to sort of sink or swim based on their office and how they structure it. I share some of Mark's concerns about your communications coordinator, and I'll share some with you personally. Some of the opinions that have been put out, which basically call 3/4 of the Albany County electorate Nazis and stuff like that. And I'm not sure that that's a good look for your office. And I'm trying not to make it personal, but I'd like to show you some of the stuff that's out there. And in fact, I posted it when you were running to call it to your attention, and I never got a response. So with that said, I'm going to support you, but I do have some generic reservations, and I have some personal reservations about that particular choice. But that's your call.
Motion to move it. Motion to move it.
Okay, our motion for Mr. Rollins, second for Mr. Katz, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Nice to see everybody. Enjoy the weather.
All right, next, beginning of the agenda, items 2, 3, and 4 are tabled at request of sponsor. Item 5 is declaring real property located at 60 South Pearl Street, the city of Albany, no longer necessary for public use, and authorizing the conveyance of 60 South Pearl Street in the city of Albany. Mike Valley is presenting.
Good evening, members of the legislature. I am here to present a request to designate 60 South Pearl as surplus property for the purpose of selling the building. The building will be sold to Liberty Park Development for the amount of $1.48 million. As mentioned before, the building is ending near its service life, and we see it as a higher and better use, not being held by the county as property. Just a couple things to update you since I last spoke to you. The previous appraisal was listed at $2.8 million. However, we had an appraisal done March 30th, the week following the committee meetings. That was listed at $1.42 million, which is actually about $69,000 less than what the asking price was and which we received the bid for. I know there has been some questions about the timing, so I'd like to address that as well. Is that okay? So, on October 7th of 2024, we received an offer from Liberty Park Development. We went forward and entered an RLA into the system, but we decided to hold that. on the basis that it needs to go out to the market so we can see if there are other offers out there. On 2/19, we listed South Pearl with Carroll Realty. On 3/11, Neo Vista sent its original offer. The listing expired on 3/16. On 3/22, Neo Vista sent an updated offer. And then on 3/27, I presented to Audit and Finance. We selected the realtor through CAB. It was RFP'd out. Carroll Realty was the winner of that bid. We decided that while this is not RFP through the procurement office, it is consistent with public advertising and closing date, and that is from our purchasing officer, Pam O'Neill. So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Do we have any questions?
We have an entire list of questions that we would rather, quite candidly, discuss privately with you, because we want to express questions about process and timing and documents and real property tax, your real estate, your choice of real estate vendor, and how they communicated with the various bidders or did not communicate. And I don't think, given the dialogue that we had last night, that this is the correct venue for that to take place. There are some documents that, maybe someone stole pieces of people's letterhead that suggest that there were decisions made certainly much earlier than it came into public view that there was a potential lease to go forward, and that there was a lot of quote-unquote documents, action, which may or may not have been perfected, but I think those are the things that we'd really like to talk with you about before this thing went on the market. There's also some questions that about the folks who put it on, whether or not they communicated with all proposers. And there appears to be a demonstrated when certain of the proposers has more documentation as to when the procurement ended, or what needed to be included, or was there their secondary proposal made, that none of that was communicated to all the vendors. One of our members, who's a member of the Realty Board, the listing is still up and live now. Now, it says that the listing ended March 16th, but it seems as though there were significant things that happened just before it just happened. Now, it would take a long time to go through all of these things. I am going to vote no. I have asked the chairwoman if she would hold this in a sense of give people an opportunity to go through these issues. Have this be a post-public hearing thing if everything is fine in May. But we've developed what we think are significant issues here. We did not, absent a 3-minute caucus with Mike, get any answers before that. So I will leave it at that. Maybe requested the chair. She said she was presupposed to do that, and but I'm going to vote no, and I would still like to see that be the case. The answer is
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And what Paul's reference to was last night's Economic Development Committee meeting, where this was thoroughly discussed with the county attorney, county executive, and his staff, and explained in detail how the procedure went. It was all above board, legal. The county attorney feels very comfortable that there's no legal issues with this. Paul, first time I'm hearing, there's a lot of issues that you're concerned about. I suggest you submit it to the county attorney, and, but I'm supporting it. I'm not a lawyer. We have a county attorney and about 40 lawyers down there, and they say it's fine, and the bidding process, not the bidding process, but the selling process of the property itself was all done legally. I'm 100% fine. Thank you.
Ms. Alex? Mr. Grimmer, you gonna say anything, Ms. Bergdorf?
I'd have some questions, Madam Chair. First of all, you said it was 1.42 million now, and it was 1.49 million?
No, it's 2.8.
No, you said it was 1.49, and it's now down to 1.42. I thought that's what you
So
said.
when it was appraised in September 14th of 2023, the appraisal was 2.83 million.
Right.
In March 30th, 2025, it was 1.42 million. The amount that was offered for the building was 1.489.
Okay. So the appraisal, in 20 months, the appraisal was, the sale was half of what the appraisal was. Do you really believe the value of that property dropped by 50% in 20 months?
I absolutely believe that the professional appraisers did their job correctly, yes.
Well, did you have any discussions with Liberty Development prior to it or after their offer?
After their offer?
Prior or after their offer?
Prior, no. When they made the offer, that was back, I want to say almost in June or July of last year, and then we decided to hold and wait because we want to go through a proper process. And I did not personally have any communications with them. Now, just keep in mind, we have plenty of conversations with Jeff Buell, whether it's Central Tower demolition or whether it's other economic development projects. So I'm not going to say that our office didn't speak to them.
Did you have any discussions with Nia Vista?
No.
Because the county executive said last night he went with this offer because they're local and they have some history with them. And history is checkered. But Nia
What does
Vista.
that mean? History's checkered.
Well, the central warehouse, they bought the central warehouse, the county had to buy them. So
Who else?
They bailed them out.
Who else bought the central warehouse and intended to do something with that? It's an impossible task. I mean,
Well-
if there's anyone that's gonna do it, it would be Jeff Buell if he couldn't do it.
But it didn't work.
Okay.
That's my point.
Any other examples?
Well, I think that's a good example. He just.
I don't think that's a good example at all. Actually, I think that's a terrible
All right,
example.
so right now, okay, this is, not Central Warehouse, okay? And, I do have a motion on the floor.
Second.
And so, all of this discussion, this was up last night, county executive came, they had an opportunity to ask questions then, all right? And so now, let's go ahead and move on this. Yes. All right, I got a motion for Ms. Adams. Okay, and I got a second for Mr. Dominguez. All those in favor? All opposed?
No.
I also want to correct something you said, Madam Chair.
I'm just trying to make sure that she gets the.
Madam Chair, last night I made repeated attempts to ask questions and was shouted down by the county executive's office. And if anybody wants to go back and look at the film, and then we tried to ask questions today, and there was no availability. So I'd like to correct the comment you said, that we had an opportunity to.
Well,
And could I correct that for a moment? Because I did-
No, we're not doing this.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not doing this, okay?
Just,
We have, I got a motion.
County
Excuse
executive
me.
did not show.
Okay.
It was not the county
That's fine,
executive, it was the
that's
staff.
fine.
Oh,
But
it's
we're
staff.
not doing this. I got a
County
motion,
executive's office,
and it's
right.
passed, and we're gonna move on to the next item. Let's go.
Item 6 is a bond resolution of the County of Albany, New York, authorizing various mechanical upgrades and improvements to the Department of General Services, stating the maximum cost thereof is $3 million, appropriating said amount therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3 million of serial bonds of said county to finance said appropriation.
So, Madam Chair, I had discussions with staff previous to this. These all passed last month.
Yeah, you know, what, this is on 6 through 9. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to group 6 through 9. Okay. Okay, so motion from Mr. Campbell, got a second. I got a second from Ms. Alves. All those in favor to group 6 through 9.
Group one?
Not at the straight legislative meeting, but in the committee, yes.
I had the same question.
I'll second it then.
Okay, okay, all right, so it's been motion, it's been second, all those in favor? Opposed? Or unanimous? Now we're going to move to table, 6 through 9, okay? I got motion from Mr. Bonner, I got second from Ms. Katz, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
All right, item 10 is authorizing the acceptance of and entering into an agreement with the New York State Department of State regarding New York State Swims Grant Program and amending the 2025 Albany County budget. Commissioner Cochran is here this evening.
Good evening, members. Joyous evening it is. Albany County Parks and Recreation is requesting authorization to accept a grant from New York State in the amount of $50,000. This money will be used to provide swimming and lifeguard training to various county entities, municipalities. And I'll yield for any questions that you have.
I got a motion for this.
Question, Madam Chair.
Okay, question for Mr. Grant.
How do you determine which municipalities get money for the lifeguards?
We reached out to see who was in need, who has a swimming pool, who actually employs lifeguards.
I mean, they have to show financial need or something like that, or just what's the criteria?
The criteria is that they're in need of a lifeguard, show the staffing shortages, and if there's a recruitment issue, they've all stated that they've had issues recruiting and retaining lifeguards.
And part of the money is also helping them recruit lifeguards?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Madam.
Yeah, Mr. Joyce.
Good evening. Just a real quick question. In the past, I don't see Albany as a participating municipality, but we were able to use the pool previously at the College of St. Rose for lifeguard training. Is that something that you could consider going forward for kids in Albany?
Do you use the lifeguard pool at St. Rose?
Yes.
Yes, we actually currently providing lifeguard training courses there.
Oh, it's still okay. So
Yes.
Good enough.
Yeah, we're trying to move very fast and provide as much services as we can.
So,
Just that's interesting, Madam Chair, can I ask one question there? Is there any plan to use St. Rose Pool as part of the Parks and Rec plan?
Yes.
So you have contemplated it?
We're looking at every option right now. This is a valuable resource for Albany County, so we want to use that to the fullest extent possible.
Okay. Interesting. Thanks, man.
okay, I got a motion from Mr. Cactus, I got a second from Ms. Alves. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good peaceful evening.
Item 11 is a public hearing on proposed modifications to agricultural districts numbers 1, 2, and 3. Commissioner Mike McGuire is here this evening.
Good evening. Audit Finance Committee, how's it going? Let me see here. So the Albany County Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board is requesting that the legislature adopt a resolution to open a public hearing on the proposed additions to the Albany County Agricultural District. The board is proposing 11 additions totaling 583.12 acres. In the past, Laura DeGatano would appear for these items. Laura has retired. Here I am. So by nature of my position, I sit on the board with the I sit on the board, so that's why I'm here representing the Agriculture Farmland Protection Board this evening.
Thanks for clearing that up.
You're welcome. So why am I here? Yeah.
You got the questions? I got a motion from Mr. Cactus, I got a second from Mr. McKinnon, so all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 12 is authorizing a correction to the tax rules for the city of Albany.
So the Albany County Land Bank submitted a correction of errors application to correct a 2024 school tax bill for 157 Homestead Avenue. The school tax bill went unpaid, has been turned over to the Albany County Division of Finance for collection. The land bank was established under Article 16 of the New York State Not-for-Profit Corporations Law. Any property owned by the land bank is exempt upon acquisition. The land bank acquired the property on August 28th, 2024, so that was right before the extension of school taxes in 2024. So what basically happened functionally is the tax bills were already in production at that point in time, so before they could cut that bill off, it went out the door. So what I'm asking is your approval of a correction to that tax bill for the 2024 school taxes on 157 Homestead Avenue.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Chris, I got a second from Mr. Cactus, second from Mr. Joyce, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 13 is authorizing cancellation of certain unenforceable delinquent real property tax liens on 453 Delaware Avenue in the city of Albany and chargeback of the amounts
453 Delaware Avenue is a church owned and operated by the Church of God in Albany. It's been a religious institution within the city of Albany for 100 years. The property's tax exemption was removed by the city of Albany in 2015. It was reinstated in 2024. It was a clerical error, administrative error on the part of the city to remove that tax exemption. So during that period of time, there was tax bills issued to the property that went unpaid, have come over to us. We don't have any legal mechanism to enforce those taxes against the church that were issued incorrectly. So what I'm asking is that correction or a resolution be adopted to declare those unenforceable taxes unenforceable. This one's a little bit different. Usually we do a correction of errors for anything that's 3 years, up to 3 years old. This is older than 3 years, so here we are.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm.
How can something like this go on for 9 years and nobody catches it?
So my working theory is that the treasurers in the churches receive a tax bill and we're tax exempt and they file it in the circular hand. And then it continues.
The city treasurer?
No, the treasurers in the churches, because you get a tax bill, you're a tax exempt organization, your assumption is this is an error, they throw it out. So then it rolls forward over a period of time, and then it takes a while to get the.
And the church never said nothing for 9 years, getting a bill every year? I mean, I just don't.
So I will say, Mr. Demolis,
And sometimes
it kind
there's
of,
a
it's.
second party paying the bills in the case of this, like it went to another state because.
Mortgage or something?
The church.
I changed treasurers. I don't want to blame COVID, but there also was a delay with some of the internal processes for the enforcement taxes as well.
That was,
But,
you know.
But you know, so there was a number of bills that went out the door that.
I'm just curious. Thank you.
I would agree with you.
I just can't comprehend how something can go by for 9 years and nobody knows why we can be in charge. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen worse than that. Oh, shouldn't have said that. But anyway. This says that. Yes. Okay. I got one.
I don't have a motion, but I have one.
This is 5 years in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. Have a great evening.
Item 14 is authorizing the conveyance of a parcel of real property located at 194 North Lake Ave in the city of Albany.
Good evening, members. So this request is to convey the property located at 194 North Lake Avenue in the city of Albany. Mr. Patrick Chu is an budding property owner who has offered $1,000 for the property. This falls in line with the newly adopted disposition plan, and he is looking to purchase it for the purposes of the remediation of blight and decay and economic development.
Motion.
Second.
I got a motion from Mr. Clissold. I got a second from Ms. LaCampus. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Item 15 is a public hearing on the proposed 2026 to 2030 Albany County Capital Program. Commissioner Dave Bradley.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, this is my annual request to submit the capital plan to the legislature, go through the process of the public hearing, and then full adoption. We've already met with the committee. This plan is an aggregation of both the presentation made by the departments as well as input from the committee members. All projects were passed unanimously, and once we passed out of committee, I submitted it to the legislature.
Can I get a motion? Motion. I got a motion from Mr. Joyce. I got a second from Mr. Bissell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
And item 16 is adopting the Albany County Capital Program for 2026 to 2030.
Okay, I need a motion to table. I got a motion from Mr. Campus. I got a second from Mr. Jamal. All those in favor? Aye. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Sarah, wow.